some fancy fabric that I didn't even buy that long ago, and I can use special fabric for me. It's okay. This is the fabric in question, and is it not spectacular? It's everything teenage me wished and dreamed for. So I got 2 yards of this. It's a knit. It's like a fairly thick knit, so it doesn't have as much give as some other fabrics that were involved in the making of the outfit that I used this for, which we will cover. And I had bought it in the summer, but I wanted to wait until it was cooler out because it is heavier and like seemed like it was just gonna kind of stick to me on the hotter days. But we're into spooky season, baby. Also, you're gonna see this in November, but I am filming this on the 19th of October, so not that it actually matters because listen, we're team Halloween all year. Okay, so before we jump into this fabric, let's take a gander at the dress we're gonna base this new dress off of. To no one's surprise, I thrifted this orange number probably a decade ago, and I almost never wear it. Not just because of the color scheme, but also because it's very, how will we say it? Tits out, I guess? I don't know if it's meant for just a shorter person or who this was meant for proportionally, but the bust section is too short, too shallow, too not enough anything there. So I do feel like I have to babysit this dress when I wear it, and I don't have like a camisole on underneath, and I hate having to pay attention to my clothes that much once they're on. This is why I wear shorts underneath all of my skirts and dresses, is because I don't want to have to think about it. I don't want to accidentally flash someone. I don't want to have to put that much effort into it. So though I do like this dress, I wanted to make a new version of it that would still have this fun wrap top, because I've been trying to wrap my head around, I promise I didn't intend to make that pun, but here we are. Wrap my head around just that type of shaping, because I like how those tops look. They're very flattering on most people, but this is maybe the only one that I own / wear, and it's not a very good example of that on me. Also, it being a wrap top like this, it does end up being an empire waisted dress, which is not my favorite cut, so I do get a little self-conscious wearing this dress because of the rest of the fit of the skirt anyways, so that's the main reason I don't often wear it. But fuck all of that. We're gonna make our own. Yes, I have been putting this project off for years. I just bought this fabric this summer, and it's fall time now, so that's not that big of a stretch, but I have been thinking of making a better version of this dress pretty much since I first acquired it all those years ago. So we're doing the damn thing. We're gonna make a dress that I wear and doesn't wear me. So the most recent time I wore the orange dress, I did take a measurement to see how much further down that waistline needed to go to actually sit at my underbust. And it's just an inch difference. It's nothing huge. Also, I'm very small chested, so I'm sure this would be a different situation for someone else. So just take a measuring tape, and where you want that fabric to be sitting, just scooch it down. Now, this orange dress does have gathers on the bust pieces, and again, I am small chested enough I don't have to worry about giving that extra room there, because this is a knit fabric and it's going to stretch over the bits that it needs to without much stress. I did omit the gathers. I thought about adding them, and it would not be that difficult to add them in, to be honest, because it's a wrap top, and I think I can figure out how that would work without it being overly complicated. Granted, I haven't tried it, so I can't confirm this information. I think the idea I have that would fix that problem would actually work well. Maybe something else we can try down the road, because there is a potential tweak I'm going to make to this dress, but I'm trying to like give it some more time to breathe. I made it 2 days ago. I wanted to throw it in the trash when I tried it on after I first finished it and wasn't even going to post this video, but then I put it on again this morning to be like, okay, let's figure out what I want to tweak. And I actually really like how it looked today. And I don't know if my body is doing something different or just my brain is in a different space, because when you have a depression brain that likes to lie to you, and also a facet of that being some hints of body dysmorphia, I don't know if I was actually seeing the problems I was looking for when I first tried it on, if that makes sense. I'm very thankful that I gave it another try and was like, oh no, this is actually looking pretty much exactly how I wanted it to look. I don't know, got caught off guard by something on Monday, and I don't know what it is, and if I could figure that out, I feel like that's the key to unlock the world, but I don't think that's ever gonna be figure-outable. Anyways, technically the first step I did in all this was take that measurement for the bust, Then I sat and took some time with my laptop in this sketch that I did. If you haven't seen the video that I did on this whole process for making my own croquis to do my fashion sketches and stuff, I will link to that up here, where I just took pictures of myself facing a couple different directions, traced it, and now I use that as like a little model of myself so I can draw out things I want to make and kind of test out layouts. Like, this is the coolest part. If I don't know what color fabric I want to put where because I just can't stop color blocking things, or if I want one waistline. I'm considering adding a second waistline to this dress, and I think I need to give it some time. Let me know what y'all think. But if I keep a panel cinched in like it is, like nice and tight between the underbust, so the empire waist, down to the high waist, have it stick there and have another seam that starts the skirt and have it flare out some more, like add some panels to the sides, which I think would be helpful because that's a technique I've used to let out people's dresses before, and like my own dresses as well. If you need the skirt to be bigger, if it's not fitting around the hips, there's a really cool trick for adding a gusset to a panel. But I think that might be a helpful thing to learn because it's an alteration that I have done a bunch of times, but one thing at a time. So initially I was going to make the whole dress out of this star fabric, and then I decided, you know, I think I would like the star fabric more if it was accented by some black sections. So because the wrap top is two separate front pieces, I settled on doing one black and one out of the star fabric, and then I had contrasting sleeves happen. So the sleeve on the star side was black, and then the sleeve on the black side was the star fabric. And I just think that's really fun. Those are some of the very first clothing surgeries I ever did, was just having a couple similar size shirts or the same shirt just in different colors and swapping out the sleeves. I love how that looks and will never get tired of it. I guess I've been color blocking shit since day one, so am I surprised we're still doing it? I don't think so. Okay, so then it was time to start basically tracing out the orange dress. I laid it out on some artist tracing paper and just kind of tried to guess some lines. Like, especially with a wrap top like this, it's really hard to even cover everything, and I did end up having to do some tweaks, but that's why I did a mock-up. Be proud of me. I did a mock-up. Thank goodness, because I think I would have been very upset if I had the issues with the mock-up that I had in the final fabric. But this is why we do these things now, because it's worth the extra effort to make the final thing nicer and how we actually want it. So I just tried to get like a basic outline. I don't think I did the arm size. Still forever picturing a tiny Grim Reaper whenever I say that. Like, it doesn't seem like it's cut out enough. I don't know. The shape seems off, and I should have actually just found a pattern. I actually have a pattern that is like a knit dress, and even just for the back pieces, copying the shape of the armholes off of that would have probably fixed the little issue that I have with the sleeves. But of course, I'm only just now thinking of this, so maybe that's how I'm going to adjust it for future dresses, because I would like more wrap top things. Even if I just make a shirt version of this, I want the bust parts to be well fitted. So I think while I have all this out, I should put that time in. But again, focus back on the project at hand. Can you tell I'm really tired? Okay, so I got a basic outline for the back piece and the front pieces, and I added that extra inch at the bottom to lengthen it on the back and the front. And I knew this would lower the skirt that little bit too, and that wasn't an issue. We're like, you got to account for everything that seam you're adjusting is touching and how it's going to affect other things, which is not my forte, is thinking ahead that many steps, but I'm getting better the more experience I have, which is the coolest part about getting to do this. I love that this is one of my jobs. I cut the back and front pieces out from some knit fabric that was actually the skirt from a previous dress that I did a mock-up for. I think the French pattern that I really struggled with, but absolutely love. I have 2 more pieces of fabric that are set aside specifically to be made into those. And this is one of the hiccups that I had, is this fabric was very similar stretchiness and weight knit to the orange dress, but this was not. And I should have accounted for more seam allowance on the side seams, if nothing else. Ow, I just hit myself in the face. Also, sorry if you're seeing my like bloody knuckle. I don't know what I hit it on. I just came home from running some errands, like going to therapy and then getting a prescription from CVS and then the bank. So not anything hard on my body, but I absolutely ended up punching something at some point. I have no idea what it was. One of the many things that makes it hilarious to realize that I have the brain wiring I have, because most people don't wake up with mystery injuries, and that's something that happens on a weekly basis. Is I'll have just a giant ass bruise on my thigh, and I'm like, what did I do? Because I just have no recollection of it. So yeah, anyway, I did put the mock-up on, and I thought it felt good enough as far as like going around, but I did not give enough coverage for the actual like neckline side of things. I couldn't even film a clip of it because it was too indecent for the internet. But I did realize like, yes, I need to add some width to these panels. So I added, I believe, 2 inches total. And then thankfully it occurred to me before I cut any more fabric out that the shoulder seams still needed to line up, and it being narrower up here and then sloping out and becoming wider as you go down. Like, I wasn't worried about people seeing my collarbone. I was worried about my entire bra showing, where, yeah, that was not a problem up here. So I did kind of like taper it down into that 2-inch addition, and that was definitely enough to do proper coverage. I made a second mock-up. I think I have I think that's what I'm currently showing you. Hopefully there's footage. If not, I made a second mock-up and it looked a lot better. Though this is the point where I should have tested the stretchiness of the purple fabric versus the star fabric to know how much I needed to add at the sides. Where the top isn't even that much of an issue. It's just a little snug getting it on, but then it is comfortable enough when I'm actually wearing it. And yeah, before I took the purple mock-up off, I just marked where the ends of the front pieces ended. Very eloquent today. Just so I could mark how much overlap there was. I ended each point about 1.75 inches away from the side seam, but you can certainly make a point to have it go all the way to the side seam just to make your head math easier, as if you do math anywhere else. But that way when I basted these things together, I just knew where it needed to sit for the fit to be correct. I did decide to use some black knit fabric. I just had some scraps from some, I don't know, long sleeve shirt cardigan thing that I thrifted or was just given. I think I was given this by someone because people know me well enough that when they're clearing out their doing spring cleaning, getting rid of old clothes, I'm like the pit stop on the way to the thrift store or wherever it's getting donated. And yeah, people let me rummage through their old clothes. And this is where I have acquired a number of things. But yeah, the black fabric is from someone's like business casual office lady cardigan. It was a little too thin for being in the same garment as this fabric, so I did double up those layers. And I also used the black fabric as like a lining for the neck piece and the sleeve. What I mean by that is the star fabric that made up one of the front panels, I cut out 1 star fabric, 1 black fabric, and then I cut out 2 more just black fabric. And then I sewed along the neckline right sides together with that lining bit, and then I flipped it right sides out, did some top stitching, and then I had a self-lined finished edge piece. I did the same thing with the sleeves. So it made things that little bit thicker. It made it so I didn't have to hem any of that or like fold it in or get bias tape going or any of that stuff. I did do bias tape for the back of the neckline because I didn't want the back to have a full lining in addition to everything else. Where I think this lining method is also what diminished some of the stretchiness of the top. So just something to be aware of if you also take that tactic. I very boldly didn't do a mock-up of the skirt, where I do wish I had, but when I tried it on a different day than the day I made it, I did like how it was fitting on me better. So I did not film any of the finished stuff the day that I made it because I was just not in a good headspace, I guess. But then, yeah, earlier today, tried it on, and this is footage of that, where it's also very like smooth fabric. So the skirt, again, I wish I had accounted for the fact that this fabric is not as stretchy. I wish I made it a little bit wider, more flared out, especially like right over my hips, because that is making it hug a little too tightly. Bodies have curves to them, so I need to get out of my head about these things. Like, I have organs inside of there and am a 30-something-year-old woman. It's okay to have shapes. I know there's plenty of things for me to unpack, and I need to not get in my head about these things. Better head day today. Was able to wear it. I really like where it's fitting. It feels very skater skirt-ish. And like I said, I am debating making like a second waistline and then having it be like more of an actual circle skirt for the bottom. But I may just add little triangles of fabric to the side seams of the skirt and show you how I let stuff out, and yeah, just add like a plain black gusset, I think is the word. I feel like this was extra discombobulated, but I guess I say that in most videos because, I don't know, my brain is not fully functional these days. We're trucking along, and I'm actually very proud I put this was most of my Monday was working on this dress because I knew it was going to be some workshopping, and that's why I kept putting it off, is because I knew I was going to have to like think really hard about it. And I'm not always in the mood for that. Sometimes I just want a straightforward cardigan I've made probably 15, 20 times now and can knock out in about 2 hours. As I said earlier in the video, I am forever thankful that this is a job I get to do and that I get to purchase some nice fabric once in a while and not just make do with things that I have literally found in the trash. I'm able to do all these things because of everyone over on my Patreon. You are literally making my dreams come true. So thank you for that. I never say this part, but like if you would like to join, the link is always in my description. I think if you just look up Holy Crap It's Joe, it'll take you to the page. I do have some like physical perks that those go out every month, but I know I have not had it in me to do the monthly live streams and like extra podcasty type videos, although many of y'all have told me you don't support me over there for like something transactional. It's just to help me do what I'm doing. So I cannot tell you how much I appreciate this gift y'all are giving me. So before we go too deep in the cheese, I'm gonna go make some food and then hang out with Bert because he is once again just sleeping on the couch, annoyed that I'm not sitting in there with him. And I won't be posting a video this coming Friday, so there will be another one in 2 weeks. So I will see you in 2 Fridays with another video. Thank you so much for hanging out. Arm sigh. Oh God, how long has that been recording? Don't mind me dissociating. Everything's fine.